What's up everybody, D-Man back. Welcome to a brand new video, and today we're going to be doing another Godzilla -1 news roundup. In this video we will be continuing the chronological documentation of Godzilla -1 and all the juicy news that exists with that movie by jumping back in time to when the film released on November 3rd of 2023. Starting out, I want to do some art like always. This comes to us from Godzilla Artist, and this is his Reiwa Godzilla redesign. One of my favorite parts of it is the fact that he's incorporated details from both -1's Godzilla and the Legendary Godzilla. You can especially see Legendary in the face and neck, whereas I feel like it's a little more -1 in Toho overall, which I think is great. I also like that he's added the two colored dorsal spines. That's of course something fans have been begging for a while now. He didn't stop there, as he gave us a Mechagodzilla Reiwa redesign to match the Godzilla. I think this is wonderful. This is a wonderful version of Mechagodzilla. I always like when Mechagodzilla resembles the Godzilla it's fighting, and this one definitely does. Very Kiryu inspired as well, which is great because that's the coolest Mechagodzilla, so I'm all for that. This one's a bit of a throwback. This one comes to us from DJ Tusgoji. This is his -1 Red Ray Godzilla, inspired by my theory. If you don't remember, my original theory was because there was a glowing Godzilla float that glowed orange, and it made Godzilla seem a little Burning Godzilla-esque. I thought that Godzilla very well could have red atomic breath in the -1 movie. Of course, he didn't wind up having that, but this artwork shows it could have been incredible. I still think that would have looked beautiful. The blue is a little more classic, but this is awesome. Going back to Gary and Artist one more time, this is the coolest Godzilla -1 fan poster I've ever seen. I think this might be my favorite Godzilla -1 fan art out there. I think it is incredible. The nuclear explosion, the Takao, Godzilla with the blue in his chest and the beam going up behind him, capturing one of my favorite moments in the movie, and the power and fury of Godzilla while making him look like a mushroom cloud and making it look super stylistic and horrific. That is perfection right there. I love it. Getting into the news, on the release day of Godzilla -1 in Japan, so November 3rd, 2023, they dropped Godzilla Energy III, an energy drink that was like sort of subtle blue raspberry and left you buzzing if you drank it all in one sitting. Overall, pretty solid can. Not sure what's up with the purple color scheme. It's a little Shin Godzilla, and I don't know what it tastes like either. I have no idea what flavor it is, but I'm sleepy, so it's time to try it. It's like a really dull blue raspberry, and I like blue raspberry, but it's like very dull, especially when you compare it to the Godzilla vs. Kong one. If any of you had the Godzilla vs. Kong one, this tastes similar, but like very toned down, like a very muted version of that one. That won't be enough to offset the effects of jet lag, but it will be enough to make you feel very weird. It was pretty yummy. If you look in the photo of these displays, you can also see the Godzilla Day exclusive Godzilla -1s. They were a silver version of the Bandai. Speaking of Bandai, the Bandai Monster King series dorsal fin luminescent color version dropped in November for $50. It looks wonderful. I really like the change to it with the glowing blue. I actually think this one looks really incredible. I wish I could have gotten the Monster King series. It looked wonderful in person, and I really regret missing it, especially if I had seen this one, because this one's wonderful, and I actually think this one looks a little better than the modern Bandai Godzilla -1 Atomic Breath version that they've just revealed a couple weeks ago. The SH MonsterArts Godzilla -1 had a couple displays, so here's a display photo of it from afar. There's a couple of it up close. We got a photo shoot with the SH MonsterArts Godzilla, showing off the figure, its posability, its new range, and these photos look wonderful. If you're wondering how the actual character holds up, the actual Godzilla figure, here is the SH MonsterArts Godzilla -1, and to do a little shameless plug here, I reviewed it not that long ago, so go check out my review to see what I think of this guy. But in brief summary, I don't have the same opinions as most people when it comes to this figure. I can't think of much more they could have done with it to make it better. There was a Godzilla -1 display in Hibiya. It was in a little mall in Hibiya near the Godzilla Square where the Godzilla Day Festival was held. This had a Godzilla -1 statue, as well as a giant Godzilla -1 poster with his eyes behind him, and then a little Godzilla poster to the side. I actually have coverage of this because I was there, so I took some footage of this. These pictures come from me. If you would like to see more of this stuff, let me know. I never really shared my adventures in Japan, and I'd love to. I'd love to show the stuff that I saw and the things I did and experienced there and share it with you guys, because there was a lot of really cool Godzilla stuff all over the place. It was really awesome. So if you're interested in that, comment down below and let me know that you want to see see that so that I can consider making those videos. A new poster for the Godzilla -1 boat race Ashiya collaboration was revealed. It's pretty neat. I don't really know what that boat race is, but I like the idea of it. Some Godzilla GQ photos were taken, hyping up -1, and these are, of course, of the Godzilla statue. Again, I have tons and tons of footage of that thing, so if you want to see that footage, let me know and I'll post it. But there's the Godzilla, and it just looks incredible. Leading into the release of Godzilla -1 overseas, on the day it dropped in Japan, Trailer 2 dropped, so that was for the US audiences. Following that, we got the Countdown -1 teaser, we also got some extra teasers, and most prominently, we got a cast teaser. Godzilla -1 did release in Japan on November 3rd, tickets opened in the US on the same day. The Bandai Movie Monster series Godzilla Theater exclusive version did drop at the same time. As you can see here, you could pick it up in Toho cinemas when you went to see the movie. The way it worked is you had to pick up these little cards, and those cards would equal one Bandai Movie Monster series, and you were limited to one per person. My friend Monstrosities of Vlog of Tokusatsu took some pictures of the opening day event in Shinjuku. You can actually spot me in these photos waiting in line to purchase my Bandai. A Toho Theater booklet was released alongside Godzilla -1, featuring some photos from the movie and some BTS photos, as well as tons of information about the making of the film. This is what the book looks like. It was astoundingly cheap, and like I said, it is filled of goodies. Here's some concept arts, and there's tons of photos and behind the scenes info about the movie. It's really wonderful. Godzilla -1's opening day in Japan was pretty huge. There was approximately 650,000 people in attendance, and the movie brought in about 1.04 billion yen. This was a bigger opening than Shin Godzilla and was a pretty enormous deal. Following this, director Takashi Yamazaki denied rumors that Godzilla -1's budget was in the $15 million range. At the time, he wasn't stating where it was in that range, he just said it wasn't 15 million. This led some to believe it was even more, when in fact, it seems like it was much, much less. Somewhere below 10 million seems to be the actual budget for the movie. At this time, Godzilla -1 scored a 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, and it held that score for quite some time. Godzilla -1 then held its #1 spot at the box office for at least 3 weeks straight without slipping. If you want to hear a more in-depth box office analysis for Godzilla -1, I've got you covered. I have multiple videos covering Godzilla -1's box office performance, both in Japan and internationally. Godzilla -1 was then nominated for its first major awards, and no, they weren't the Oscars. That came much later. Godzilla -1 was nominated for Best Film, Director, Actor, and Supporting Actress at the Hochi Film Awards in Japan. It went on to win director Takashi Yamazaki's first award for Godzilla -1, being Best Director. And that was Godzilla -1's first award, and that started its major award sweep both in Japan and eventually internationally. So there's our coverage for Godzilla -1's opening in Japan. Like I said, I was there for this. I didn't talk too much about it because I didn't want to brag and because people were a little less receptive to seeing the stuff that I filmed there than I expected. But if you guys had a change of heart, or if you want to see coverage of my time in Japan, what Godzilla Festival is like in person, all that stuff, please let me know and I'll post it separately. Thank you guys all for watching. As usual, I want to give a huge thank you to my patrons over on Patreon. It is through the support of the patrons that I'm able to make videos like this for you, and by supporting the Patreon, you can get early access to content, access to the Discord community, and more. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I will see you all next time for the next one. D-Man, out.